All right. Hello, home service pros. Welcome to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast, episode number 125. Today, we got a great special guest on the show, Mr. Ryan Lucia, owner, CEO of Aaron Overhead Doors out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. 3 locations there, 4.9 rating on Google from some 2,500 reviews. So without further ado, let's dive right in.
Welcome to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast for Contractors. Get actionable advice and tactics on how to grow your home service company. Plus interviews with industry experts dropping value bombs in marketing, sales, and operations. And now let's power up your home service biz with your host, Mark Ambrose of Battle Plan Marketing.
Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So let's dive right in. Tell us what you do now, who you do it for, where you do it.
Yeah, so my background's very diverse. I've changed careers quite a few times. I would consider myself a pretty hardcore entrepreneur, like a serial entrepreneur.
Nice.
I'm always starting stuff. I'm not very good at once it gets to a certain point, I get a little frustrated and then move on and start something new. So it's kind of my personality. I can start from scratch, but probably not like your typical CEO, someone who's going to run the day-to-day. So I started Aaron Overhead Doors in 2015 off the back of an acquisition that took place at the software company I was working at. And I had a friend of mine who ran Aaron Overhead Doors in California. And he came up with the crazy idea of me flying out there for a week and training and then coming back here and launching Aaron Overhead Doors Atlanta.
Wow.
At the time, to tell you how big of a jump that was. I mean, I had just found out, just had our second kid. He was 1 year old at the time. And my wife told me no, because she thought it was the stupidest idea ever. Because number one, I don't know how to fix anything. Wasn't very handy. Didn't know how to use tools for the most part, because I never grew up with tools. My dad always paid somebody to fix things around the house, or if he attempted it, there were a lot of cuss words involved and throwing things. So I just don't think it ran in our family, but I had a good teacher. 4.5 days is not enough training, by the way, to launch a garage door company, but it was sink or swim for me. And I wanted to get out of the rat race I was in. So I started Aaron Overhead Door Atlanta, and I enjoyed the days of being able to roll the windows down, get my hands dirty instead of sitting behind a computer, meeting customers in their houses, problem solving, fixing things, proving to myself that I could do it. I got really good at it, and then decided that I was stuck in my business at that point. So I had to shift my focus to working on it. So I hired an installer, and then fast forward now, my general manager, Josh, runs the business, and we are 20 total people on the company right now. And we have 3 locations. We have our headquarters here in Beaufort, Georgia, and then we have a showroom in Milton, Georgia, and Buckhead, Georgia. And we specialize in commercial residential doors. And majority of what we do on the residential side is super high-end, beautiful glass doors, custom wood doors. We specialize in high-quality repairs. On the commercial side, we do pretty much everything. So it can be high-speed doors, rolling steel, any type of specialty door, or just a basic sheet door. We do dock equipment, HVLS fans, and we just took on Phantom Screens distributorship, which has been a huge blessing. We just started with them about a month ago now, and they've been great because they send you a bunch of leads. This market's full of people that are interested, and they do their own marketing and then send us the leads to close them. So we've been crushing that. So it's been really good.
Nice. That's quite the journey. So out of the office and into the field, basically. Tired of the software world.
Yeah, I was traveling a lot. I had 2 young children. I had a wife that's pretty demanding of time, and quality time was her love language, and I wasn't able to give it to her. And so I had already disappointed one wife, who's now my ex-wife. So I didn't want to make a second ex-wife. So I felt like this would be a good decision in the long run. So here we are.
That's great. That's great. Good stuff. So did the guy out in the California Aaron Overhead, was he also in that high-end market?
So he's in Monterey, California. So to a degree, he's naturally in that. So he does some high end stuff as well, but probably not at the level that we do. So we really don't want to do cheap builder grade doors or like ugly garage doors, your basic short panel raised doors. Those aren't of interest to us. If we can't take a picture and stick it online because how beautiful it is, we don't really want to do it. Yeah. I know it sounds like bougie and stuck up and snooty, but it's like we've defined our customer. We know who they are. And, we market to them consistently on a regular basis. And we do get customers who, want a regular door and we'll still do it, but we market to the higher end clientele.
Yeah. Yeah. No, nothing bougie about it. You need to pick a customer, an avatar, and focus on it and go after it. That's the secret to every business, really. Trying to be general. I've been on your site. The doors are absolutely beautiful. The wood doors, the glass doors. So the glass doors, really no insulation, no protection, of course, just a aesthetic. Yes?
You can get them insulated now. So one of the manufacturers we use is called Armorlite. Armorlite is probably our preferred manufacturer for glass doors. They do aluminum frames that are welded aluminum. So instead of using rivets or screws to hold everything together, everything's welded. You get a 20-year warranty frame, and then they can inject those frames with urethane insulation, and then they can do double pane glass, low E, and they can be decent, but you're definitely not buying that door for like the efficiency. There's so many other options that are better.
Right.
So
they are stunning though. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Monterey's beautiful, high-end area, just drop dead gorgeous geography and topography.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's absolutely Carmel Valley. All that whole area is absolutely gorgeous.
Did you do that? What do they call that? 17-mile drive or whatever through there? Like through Monterey?
I've only been there once. So, yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I don't know what the 17-mile drive is, but we covered quite a bit of land while we were out there. Yeah,
there's a famous drive right along the coast. I think it's PC, on Pacific Coast Highway. I
think he did take me down that.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. It's a big, well, not only a great tourist drive, but it's a beautiful drive. Just, goes right by Pebble Beach, drop dead gorgeous. So are those obviously similar neighborhoods you're targeting in Atlanta and the other suburbs of it? Yes?
Yeah. So we focus a lot on modern garage doors because a lot of the architecture in and around the metro Atlanta area is modern of some sort. So you've got different subcategories of modern. You obviously got like farmhouse modern, which is trending really hard the last 5 years. You've got like mid-century modern, which is really popular on the north side of Atlanta, some older homes that are being redone, but they have that mid-century modern look. And then you have like contemporary modern with lots of straight lines and hard corners with lots of glass. And so, you get into these subcategories and there's just a huge makeup. And it's, you got Georgia Tech is a big school, puts out a lot of engineers, and we got a lot of architects here that also are like a turnkey solution for design as far as like how to design your home inside and out. And then they also have the building team to build it for you. So we try to connect with those guys. And, part of the challenges, which we like, is, they'll draw something up on a napkin, which isn't necessarily ideal because it's like, oh, that's not going to work. And so I'll give you an example. We had a client one time who had like 6 garage door companies out, and everybody told them there's only one solution. It's a bifold door. Bifold doors are extremely expensive.
Which are just two pieces?
Yeah, it just kind of fold, like kind of goes up like that.
Oh, wow.
It's on a hinge in the middle and kind of folds out like an awning overhead. And we use Schweiss door for that. And you can find them at bifold.com. And Mike Schweiss was an amazing person in general, but when we quoted those, he hit the ceiling and kind of freaked out on us a little bit. And we were like, hey, we didn't know what to expect. We try not to judge people on like how much they can afford. There's another option. And he's like, what is it? And I said, well, we can do glass doors, but on this particular door, because you have a staircase in the way, we can do a stationary top section that makes it look like it's part of the door, but it's like a transom per se. We offset the door just inside of that so that it misses it when it goes up. And I think you'll barely be able to tell. And he was like, man, nobody's come up with that. And I was like, well, the door will have to travel less further back. So it won't hit we'll be just short of the stairs. We did it and he loved it. And he told me ahead of time, he's like, Ryan, I'm just going to tell you, like, I got the guys coming back out here to pull the siding off because the siding's off like 1/8 of an inch. He's like, I'm very particular. And I'm like, me too. Good. Hold us accountable. Nice. And I think I just won him over with my attitude and like the expectations. And so our guys went out there, they crushed it and did a really good job. And he was very pleased. And we love doing jobs like that where it makes us think on how to do them.
Yeah. I like that. A little creativity required.
Yeah.
Little engineering required.
Right.
Nice. So tell me, Ryan, how do you target these high-end areas? What kind of marketing do you deploy?
So it's a good question. We have multiple different strategies going on at the same time because we have 3 different locations and our target audience is slightly different and the architecture of the area is very different. So here in Beaufort, where our headquarters are at, it's extremely saturated. We have a lot of garage door companies here. All of them, do very well at the digital game, which I'm really good at as well. But if you have a pie in Beaufort, that pie is going to be split up 30 different ways. And, if you want more of the pie, you got to eat someone else's and it becomes very expensive, right? So what we decided to do is take a different approach in the Beaufort area. We want to try to get people before they go online because it's so hyper competitive online here. And our cost of acquisition for customers were going up. Our revenue was staying steady. So we decided to take a more branding approach. So now what we're doing in the Beaufort location is we're doing billboards and more of a brand approach. So that's working. Well, we just started it in January. So I wouldn't say it's working. I would say it's a long-term commitment that we've committed to. And we're just going to keep playing that game because we feel like that's the right approach. We're not losing any ground. We're still doing similar numbers that we were before. So we're playing the organic game online and then the billboards offline. And then we bought lists, client lists. So square footage, price of home. We hooked up with Modern Luxury Magazine and we do a lot of ads and events with them. Right. We network with interior designers, architects through there. We were just at an event with them last night, actually, and won an award through them. And so when all said and done, we're doing like a lot of direct mail to our customer, which is a lot more affordable than a blanket approach. And we do very little AdWords. So we don't like AdWords because it's based on my case studies in the past. AdWord customers tend to go back to AdWords instead of coming back to me. So I want customers who don't want me because of a coupon or because they were in a rush and they're just trained to click the top. I want people who are intelligent and do their research and look for quality. And so that's, we give up a lot to get that. But although we went half the jobs in 2021 over 2020, we doubled our revenue. And some of that was due to like material cost, but we defined our customer and really honed in. And, we went from $2,000, $2,200 average per door sale to now we're over $10,000 per door sale.
That's impressive.
So just doing those strategies, I think, has helped out a lot. So that's our main focus.
And congrats on the award.
Thank you.
Yeah. So is that a association? Obviously, you're working with them. So you're targeting the local or state architectural trade association? Yeah.
So we've joined AIA. So we're members there. We do lunch and learns because they have to get continued education points. So we'll reach out to architectural firms and offer to do a lunch and learn. And at the end, you just kind of tell a little bit about your company. And then if they offer, hey, if you're doing plans or you're drawing something up and you have a quick question, you need to know, what kind of headroom you might need for a particular door or, side room or whatever, just shoot us a message and we'll get you the information. And so that's been like super helpful because now when they're like trying to draw something magical on a napkin and we don't know if it's possible, they can shoot it over to us and we can tell them, hey, yes, that can be done, but you got to take these things into consideration. And that's been working pretty well.
Nice. I like it. So zero in on your target audience and be helpful to Pretty basic rules.
Pretty basic concept.
Yeah.
And customer service.
Right. How about custom home builders, Ryan? Do you go after the high-end builders as well? Or
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do a ton of new construction. When we do, it's because the interior designer brought us in.
I see.
Or a homeowner who's kind of got a builder, but they want to pick out certain things themselves. Or it's a custom home and they're in charge of looking for their own stuff. So we do have some really good new construction partners that we've partnered with that do very well.
Nice. So let's see. Well, what's your favorite part? What do you like selling the most?
Me personally, I love selling glass garage doors.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
These screens are really cool. So it's kind of like the new chick. We just signed up with them. So we're very interested, very intrigued. They're beautiful, well built. Here in Atlanta, it gets hot. We also get a lot of bugs. So you get gnats and mosquitoes. And so to avoid that and be able to sit on your back porch and have a little misting fan or something, it's kind of a good setting. And then we also do these, I really enjoy these gas strut. So we're in an identity crisis mode for the most part because we're getting pulled out of garages and we're doing more stuff on porches and basements and man caves. So we sell gas strut awning windows as well.
Okay.
So we do those and
shade awning over the window, like a shade.
So what happens is if you have a bar, right? On top of the countertop, you can have a window that swings out this. So you can pass food through the window or whatever.
Okay.
And so the window itself, when it's open, kind of acts like an awning outside.
Oh, I see.
And it's held up with gas strut arms. And then you just pull it down and lock it. So we got into that because I started selling these garage doors in bars on countertops. And we started posting them online and people would be like, oh my God, I love this. We're finishing our basement. We have a little kitchen and I'd love to do this where we can open up the garage door and pass things outside to where we don't have to keep walking in and out to give somebody something. And so we started selling those, and then it kind of led to, hey, can we just open up this whole wall and do a garage door here, like a glass door out going out to the pool? So we were like, yes, you can do that. And then we started getting people like, hey, can we do this in our living room, in our, whatever. And so, yes, we do them in living rooms now. And so we're doing all these custom things and we're all throughout the house and not just in the garage.
Nice. So wood and glass kind of?
Mostly glass is in these areas.
Okay.
I'm not sure we've done any wood inside of a house or on, porch or whatever, but the screens and the gas strut windows and the small glass garage doors. So we'll do like a 5x4 or 8x4, 6x4 garage door. It'll be all glass with a frame. And that's really trendy. People like it.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a statement piece when you walk in and your friends see it and they're like, oh my God, you have a tiny garage door in your basement. This is so cool. So
that's cool. That's very cool. And that appeals to your getting bored after a little while.
It does.
Your serial entrepreneurship.
Yeah, 100%.
That's very cool. I saw on your site also screens. So you had mentioned garage screens, right? And I see a couple of my neighbors have them too. One guy works out. He's got the screen out there all the time. So are those also automatic? Do they come down like that as well?
Yeah, we have automatic retractable screens where you can just click the remote and it closes down.
Right. Behind the door? So they're running on a separate track or something? Or
So there are ones that run on a separate track. Those are manual, and you can even get a man door in those. We used to install those. We're not huge fans of them anymore. So there's some challenges with that. So we started selling automatic retractable screens. And there is a way to install these on garages on the same wall. It's a little tricky, but we can do it. But automatic retractable screens are it's a big deal for us right now because we just started with them roughly 30 days ago. We had them fly in from Canada and they did a big training with us.
Nice.
And they invited 12 other companies or something like that, Phantom Screen distributors for training. So the product's a little bit more expensive, but here's what you get as a distributor, which is really nice. They do a lot of direct to consumer advertising. So we can't even keep up with all the leads they're sending us. So the fact that I don't have a cost of acquisition to get new customers, I'm okay paying a little extra for the product and the support and the quality that they provide. So I've been very happy with it.
That's pretty cool. So they're sharing leads, they're doing marketing, and they're sharing leads with you.
Yeah. And it's exclusive. I have exclusive rights in my area. So
Nice.
everything comes to us.
Nice. So there's a long, it feels like, or sounds like there's a, not long, I'm missing the word right now, but, a little bit of an education process for your clientele. And I see your blog is loaded with really good content there.
Thank you.
So correct me if I'm wrong. There is a educational process you take your clients through. It's not like they're just, hitting Google that I need a garage door spring repair, poof, calling a first guy and boom, right? So you get a call. I'm going to guess there's an education process that follows that first call. Yes?
If it's a repair, our primary job is to get a service guy in there to really truly do a diagnostic, because there's no way for us to really know exactly what's wrong. The garage door is primarily one of the most under maintenance appliances in the whole house. It's recommended that you lubricate it monthly, you service it once or twice a year. And when we walk in garages, the average person tells us the last time they had the door service was about 8 years ago. So when it's the biggest, heaviest moving part of your home. It's technically a wall and gets ignored more than anything else. So we want to send somebody out. We want to do diagnostics, really get a feel for, what's going on, the wear and tear in other areas, offer multiple options, and let the customer ultimately choose. Now, if it's a new door, we provide new door consultations, and we have what's called a door designer, and we go out and we help the customer design and choose the right door for their house. And that's very complicated if you're working for me, because we have 14 different manufacturers that we sell from, and we sell all the high-end product for every manufacturer. So you would think that'd be really hard to get in with some manufacturers, but when you tell them you're not interested in their cheap stuff and you only want to sell their premium product, and you show them like the doors that you do, they're kind of like, this is an interesting relationship. We're not used to this. So it's been pretty easy getting accounts with door companies.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So the high-end doors, they're going. So what sells more, glass or the wood? And
for us, glass.
Yeah. Yeah. And they both look beautiful.
Yeah, I would be shocked. I would be shocked if there's another company in the country that does more glass garage doors than we do.
Really? Good for you, man.
We're doing glass doors every week, in some cases multiple times a week. And most of our glass door jobs will have 3, 4, 5, 6 doors on it. So we do a lot. Yeah,
sure. The higher end homes will have multiple garages. So you're not just looking at the 2-car garage. You got whatever.
We got some with 6 40. Or 7. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. And that market usually doesn't go away, right? So here we are, supposedly looking like we're heading towards a cyclical recession. Probably will not affect you very much.
It will affect us a little, but not to the degree that companies who've built their entire database off of the mid-market. So unfortunately, I follow the economy pretty closely. And what's been happening is, I think it was predicted, but you're going to have even a bigger wealth gap than we had before this regime came in. And the middle class is just getting crushed right now. Oh, yeah. Like their claim that they weren't going to raise taxes on them, but ultimately they're paying more taxes because of inflation and some decisions being made. So they're stretched and having to postpone repairs on things like garage doors or other parts of their home. And they're paying more for food and everything else. And so offering financing is a good option if you're a home service company and you service that group.
Good advice.
We offer financing as well. Not a lot of our customers take us up on it, but we like to have it as an option.
Nice. Is it Green Sky and Enterbank?
We do Green Sky and Lion Financial.
Lion Financial, yeah. Good for you.
Lion does, what's different is Green Sky's a credit card, so it's a revolving credit line for the most part. And then Lion does installment credit, so it's like a fixed rate for 10, 15, 20-year term. and you can finance anywhere from $10,000 to $200,000. And I think rates right now are starting, like, they're pretty low, all things considered, mid sixes. And there's they don't need collateral or anything. It's a personal loan.
I see.
And I don't know anywhere else where you can get a personal loan for a home repair for in the sixes on an interest rate. So customer service they have is phenomenal. They align more with like who we are and like what our customers expect through that process. And although it is more of a traditional loan, it's kind of like a mortgage without being attached to your house. There's a little bit of a loan process that takes a little bit more effort than just applying the Green Sky through Service Titan and then, jumping on board.
Yeah, Green Sky is really quick, right? You could do it literally in the home in 5-10 minutes or whatever. So this is a little bit more of a process for life.
It takes a couple of days. Yeah.
That's okay.
You go through underwriting. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe on the lower end, middle to lower end, that could endanger the sale potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's talk about training a little bit because, that's pretty impressive. So you go from, the software world, you go get not even a full week of training. You go out there, you bust it yourself, and now you got to hire your guy and you bring in that person and train them up. And so if you don't mind, walk me through that a little bit, because we've got a lot of guys out there who are still running, their own truck, or got 2 or 3 trucks and trying to figure out how to get out of the field. So, walk us through a little bit, if you don't mind, how you got out of that field and into the desk again.
Determination.
I like it.
Persistence, because there were a couple times I got sucked back in. You think everything's going smooth, and one of your guys is like, "Hey man, I'm going to go start my own company," or they're leaving or whatever, they're going to go back to school. So you're kind of like, man, so you feel like the obvious choices you got to service the customers you got scheduled. So you jump in the truck, you knock the rust off, and you get to work. And there's pros and cons to that. One, you get to see your processes and where the breakdowns are at that particular time, which is nice. 2, you also are counterproductive because instead of actually interviewing people and recruiting, you're in the field doing $100 bucket stuff instead of $1,000 bucket stuff.
Right.
And those of you guys who, I learned that methodology through Thomas Keenan, who's amazing, spoke at one of my events in Dallas recently in December. And he said, there's a bucket for everything. You just have to look at it. Is it a $10 bucket, $20 bucket, $50 bucket, $100 bucket, $1,000 bucket? He's like, owners need to be working on $1,000 bucket stuff. So you got to ask yourself, is what you're doing going to return $10, $50, $100, or $1,000? Right. And you should be working on trying to create thousands of dollars and not $50. So if you ask yourself, if you lose a couple customers or, you have to rearrange the calendar or whatever, that might be worth it more than taking a step back, dropping the ball on some bigger stuff. I think if I had to do it over again, I probably would have looked at things more like that than I would have maybe jumping back in the truck so quickly.
Take that extra day or two to fill that spot that person who just left. And everybody stresses out for a few days maybe, while there's, a lot more production required from fewer people.
And along that point is, when I talk to other business owners, I'll ask them, like, what's your marketing budget? What percentage of your revenue is your marketing budget? I get a bunch of different answers. And I'm like, well, what's your recruiting budget? And they'll be like, I don't have a recruiting budget.
Wow.
And I'm like, so you're telling me that you don't spend any money on a monthly basis to find great employees, but you have a budget to find new customers that's going to hire you once potentially. And they're like, yeah, now that you say it that way, it makes a lot of sense. So a lot of people go out, a budget doing that. And, not to shill a product, but Wise Hire has been really good to us. We love Wise Hire. They actually set up, they've have HVAC templates. They've got garage door templates now. You can literally be up and running with a job posting within 5 minutes. It's super cheap.
Nice.
And you have multiple job listings. And not only that, like the interface is easy to use. You get unlimited amount of disc assessments. So you can have your existing team take the disc assessment and pulls out like a 13, 14 page report. You can give it to them. You can learn what motivates your team, all that stuff. And they will tell you when people fill out the applications or submit the resume, if they're a good fit or not, if they've taken the disc assessment through whichever platform like they're getting it from. So it'll tell you if it's a good personality fit, if they're motivated to do this type of job, things like that. And it's based on other people who do that job well. What are their chemical makeup? So huge fan of Wise Hire. They're kind of up and coming. And
Wisehire.com, basically.
WIZE hire.com.
Oh, glad you spelled it out there. The Z, they use a Z. Everybody gets a little fancy.
Yeah.
Branding themselves. So they specialize in home service companies or?
They don't. I think Thomas Keenan told Levi Tanner, which is another door company in Texas, about them. And then he told me about it. And then I started using it. And then I've got a podcast as well. So I started promoting it on my podcast because it's done so well for us. And the guy that runs the company, Sid, he's the CEO. He reached out to me. He was like, bro, we're getting all these guys signing up. And I'm like, dude, it's awesome. Like, I love your product. And so he was like, I asked him if he wanted to come on the podcast. So he was on the podcast, talked a little bit about hire methods and stuff like that. So it was really good. But yeah, I'm just a big fan of sharing software that works really well.
Yeah.
And does a good job.
Yeah. Speaking of, so CRM, sales and marketing software.
Yeah. So huge disappointment in home services, in my opinion. Like, I'm a software guy, right? So
Right.
I was in software prior to coming into the garage door industry. My first software I used was Jobber. Love Jobber. I think the guys at Jobber are great. Customer service was amazing. We just outgrew it. You're talking 2015. It was a very basic software that I've heard they've developed it and it's much better now, or bigger and more advanced. But I love those guys to death, and I wish them the best. I think they did a phenomenal job. The user interface, when you're looking at software for a home service company, I think the first thing you look at is the usability for the guys in the field, because they're not overly technical when it comes to software. So I thought they just hit a home run with that portion. So then we went to Service Fusion. That was about a 6-month stint.
Wow.
Didn't go as well as I had anticipated. So we pulled the plug and went with Service Titan. And so now we use Service Titan. But unfortunately, Service Titan doesn't fill all the gaps for everything that we need. They have developed it quite a bit to help out with that. But, there's definitely some gaps. So we use Monday.com for a CRM.
Oh, cool.
And that way we can see our pipeline and like how much we have in the pipeline for commercial versus residential. What's our expectations on closing and when they're going to close. So we can do projections on sales numbers. And like, if we know, hey, we're not going to hit our numbers based on the pipeline, we got to try to figure something else out to feed the pipeline a little more. So it's an easier way to run your business, which Service Titan doesn't provide that, right? So Service Titan assumes that the sale starts when the phone rings. And in reality, there's a lot that goes on before then. So there's no good way to manage that. There's also no good way to manage like orders and receivables, but they just did a PO system not too long ago. So we're looking at that, but we use Monday.com for that process now. And it works really well because we can actually have automatic communication go out from Monday to the clients.
Oh, so yeah. Automated.
We wanted to create an environment like a pizza. If you can order a pizza from Papa John's or Domino's and see the whole process and get notifications, why can't we do that with a garage door, right? So like when we move it to ordered, customer can get an update that says, hey, congratulations, your door's been ordered. Congratulations, your door is being shipped to us. We've inspected the door and the door is complete. We'll be in touch to schedule your appointment for installation. So it just gives a little bit of a better
communication,
better feeling.
Yeah, better communications.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're using both? Did you tie the two together with an API?
We did tie the two together with an API. And so like when someone calls in and inquires about equipment sales, where we go out and do a quote, it automatically puts them into Monday. And then we track that.
Nice. Good work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we might have him on the show. I think I just got an email this morning from somebody over at
Monday's great.
Yeah.
Talking about Monday or Service Titan?
From Monday. Yeah, we had Service Titan on the show 2 episodes ago. I had the VP of Customer Experience.
Nice.
Tom, gosh, it's terrible.
Was that Tom?
Yeah, Tom. He owns 6. His last name is
Yeah.
escaping me temporarily.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he himself owns
Tom Howard. Is it Tom Howard?
Tom Howard. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Howard. Awesome.
He's
Great
a smart
interview.
guy.
Really smart guy. He's running 6. Well, he buys and sells companies, but he's currently, on the show, he was running 6 home service companies, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and doing, 60 plus million. He's crushing it.
Right.
And a close friend sounds like of Tommy Mello, who's in your industry.
Yeah.
I imagine you know who Tommy Mello is.
I'm friends with Tommy. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Congratulations to him on his recent. He took on an investor, so
Yeah.
he's got some cash laying around. So congratulations to him. He's building a house. So lots of good things in the Mello world.
Yeah, congrats to Tommy. He is hopefully coming on the show in April, and super honored. We're just a small little show, so both Tom and Tommy Mello coming on we're honored and learning things. And we have a lot of guys out there who want to grow, who want to acquire local companies, who want to build to sell. So these 2 guys were perfect for that. How about yourself, Brian? Are you looking to build to sell, or what's your end game? Do you have that in mind?
So originally, when we started when we started the company, Aaron Overhead Doors, my goal was to build and sell it in 5 years and go start something else. I've got like 2 or 3 other things I want to do, but I don't want to overcommit, which I do anyway. So we've gotten a lot, like thanks to Tommy Mello and some acquisitions that have taken place in our industry, I probably get reached out to once or twice a week from a private equity firm. So we discussed it, but we're probably not ready yet to get what I would like to get. So, the conversation's being had, but I'm probably 2 or 3 years from being able to make a decision to get the money that I want. So we're pushing hard on our end to try to get there.
Nice. But that sounds like that is your end game. You just sell off to private equity.
Yeah. Or another door company, either way.
Oh, yeah.
But, for me, the garage door thing was a means to something else.
Right.
It was never intended for me to be in for a long time. And it was easier to grow the company kind of with that mindset than this is everything for me. This is all my eggs in one basket, and we're just doing this. I think when I starting other businesses and creating additional lines of income, that became less important, and I could just focus on growth and strategy and maintaining cash flow.
I like it. Are you looking to expand a little bit, more locations, or just grow the ones that you're in?
I think, like we just talked about this the other day, the other locations do very well for us. But I think for the amount of money that we spend getting into them and starting from ground zero, I think we're going to probably take a different approach and look at acquisitions going forward. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guys who want out. We've had a couple local guys reach out to us and kind of share their interest in getting out, and they like the way we run things and want to leave it in our hands with their employees. So, if we can work out a couple deals locally, I think that would probably be in our best interest.
And you just answered the question I was about to ask. Are you going to stay local, or you're looking, guys jump to another state or whatever?
Operationally, we probably will stay local unless we just get a really good deal out of state. But, I've never been a big believer in like an absentee owner. I don't think that usually goes well unless you have like a really good number 2. And so the travel and, I guess it would just have to be somewhat close, like within an hour or 2 flight. That would probably be okay.
Yeah, I think I share your viewpoint there. It takes a hell of an operator. Not that you're not, excuse me. I don't mean to, like you say, a great number 2 guy or whatever you start operating in multiple states. You got to be a superstar.
Yeah. I'm not that guy. Like, I'm just like, I know who I am, right? Like, I'm not that guy. Like I can facilitate it. Yeah. Well, I'm a superstar at growth, like right. Growth ideas and marketing and sales. Like that's me. I can do that. But, if you ask my employees, they think, they think I believe sales and marketing fix all your problems. They kind of do to a degree, but not necessarily. But Josh, my general manager, has really done a good job of like building the foundation, our SOPs, systems and processes. And because I'm kind of wild west, like, let's sell it, let's get it installed, and they're like, how do we install it? And I'm like, I don't know. You're supposed to know this stuff, right? So I'm too busy selling. What are you talking about?
There you
go. Yeah.
I like it. Let's talk about, so what do you look for in an acquisition? So if there's, local Atlanta folks listening, what's your target? What do you expect to see and get out of a, local guy who's running a garage door?
I think what I'd be looking for is someone who's in the, like, I don't know, 6 to 800,000, maybe $1 million range. They are a couple of employees, hopefully good, have a well-established, like a brand name, or, people just call them. I can put my marketing juice behind anything. So if they're underperforming there, I can boost that up really nicely. But ultimately just a healthy company. And I think I can take care of the rest and figure it out. So
do you care what their customer list is, or if they're staying connected, like email newsletters or something like that? Or
I feel like I should say yes to that, but honestly, I don't care. Like, I do a lot of email marketing, and, we didn't do it for years here, and then we started it, and it's been a huge hit.
Yeah.
So, you'll probably just get like a bunch of unsubscribes the first time you hit that list, But after that, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So you send out a newsletter or something similar to your existing customers?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do you guys,
those are the best customers in the world.
I'm sorry? Yeah, they're your existing customers.
They already know, like, and trust you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm amazed, Brian, at how many companies ignore their past customers. It just blows me away.
And you know what? I tell people that I read a case study where a guy did comparison between a well-templated, beautiful, laid out email campaign versus a 2-sentence, like, written email with a question at the bottom and a email signature from the owner. It outperformed it like 3x.
Yeah.
Just a regular text email that you, and I was like, holy cow, but you have to write it right and have a question at the end. And those can perform better than like a beautiful, and they can deliver better. So like you have a better chance of delivery into the inbox, which is, part of the battle too. So just having that simple email, and like, these guys as business owners, we work everything up to be so big if we don't know it very well. But how many of the listeners can type a 2-sentence email and have their check it for grammar and then send it out to your database? Obviously, you probably still want to use a platform like MailChimp or something like that, because that way it doesn't hit your MX records and hurt your spam count. So running it through one of those systems still is important, but because they'll trickle those out instead of sending them all at once and throwing red flags.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up too. Yeah. So stay connected out there, and you don't have to create some fancy, graphical, beautiful laid out email template. In fact, like you're saying, a lot of times that could, derail you a little bit.
Yeah.
So just a simple little, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
What about this? What's your thoughts about this? Yeah, I like it. And then you send them to.
Emails are great. Like, did you know that you're supposed to do service on your garage door or your HVAC system?
Right.
And the best time to do that is this time. And then your question is, would you like to schedule an appointment? Click here, schedule online, make it super easy, or call this, and boom, you're good.
100%. Holiday emails should go out. They don't always have to have, there's some marketing guys out there, everything should have an offer, and that's okay. Probably true. But, just simple holiday, even just hey, happy holidays, whatever it is, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, 4th of July, and then annual service reminders, right? So, let's talk about that. MRR. Do you guys get into any annual maintenance agreements or anything like that? Is that a part of your business?
We haven't. And we have like discussed it to the point where I'm like frustrated by it. I tell them to sell me on the package. And if I don't see me buying it, then I won't approve it. So, but maybe I'm in my own way, because I think sometimes as business owners, we can be too stubborn. Instead of like doing a little research and development and testing things out in the marketplace, we try to look through our narrow scope, and I could be costing myself some money that way. But we're working on some stuff. As a matter of fact, I had some good conversation with Tommy Mello about some of the things he does. And I think we're going to steal some of his ideas and kind of mix it with mine and push it out and just see what happens. But half the time, I think we just got to get out of the freaking way and let our team do what they do.
Yeah. Many times we can get in our own way and block something because we wouldn't buy it. I would never do direct mail. Otherwise, I don't open that stuff. Right? Yeah. Why would I want to do direct mail? Yeah. Tom Howard, he was saying, because he's in the HVAC business. So this was something I wasn't aware of at all. I don't have any HVAC clients, that it actually kind of backfired on him. He wrote too many of those, and it carried over into springtime instead of just winter. And now they're out doing service calls, maintenance calls, instead of, sales calls on 5-figure AC systems. So, but I think that might be, I'm trying to think of another industry where it could backfire on you.
Yeah.
But I can't really see it, plumbing, electrical. So maybe something where it's super seasonal like that.
Right.
You have to be careful, or at least be careful. If you're in the HVAC, be careful on how many of those agreements you write that don't carry over into your super high season. But I think for garage doors and plumbing and electrical and most other home services, there's a market there.
Yeah.
For some.
Definitely a market. I just don't want to sell something that's not be able to fulfill it on the back end.
Yeah, sure.
I want that experience to be as great as the rest of all the other experiences with us.
Right.
So I think if we put the effort in, we've just been so busy in other areas, like, is $9.99 a month going to make a big enough difference for us to shift our focus into this, where we're doing like, $1,000 bucket stuff that's giving us a bigger, we can squeeze more. Right. So it just keeps falling down the list of importance because we have
nothing wrong with that.
So much. It would be nice to start the month without being at zero.
Right. You already have a little bit. It's usually not a profit center for companies. It's more like your email, if you will. It's more like just staying top of mind with those clients. So when there's need, and of course now you're in the house, right? And you can identify, existing issues. And so small maintenance, turns into a repair or a replacement or something like that. But for me, it's more of a top of mind thing. You're just staying connected to those customers, like you say, who already know, like, and trust your company.
Yep.
Super important. But not if you're writing $1,000 tickets and that's a $1 ticket, right? So if you have plenty of $1,000 tickets coming your way, I think I'd keep putting it on the back burner also. So
yeah, we're doing well.
No worries there. How about any giant challenge that hit you during the operation of this company that, like, whoa, and what did you learn from that potentially?
Yeah, I would say the biggest one was you can't scale it like a software company. I tried that. 2015, we started in August and we came out of the gate doing really well. The first year was like 3 of us. We did about $700,000 in revenue. And the next year I was shooting for 1.5. And Q1, the market slowed a little bit. And I was on such a fast growth trajectory. My cash flow dried up and I had to get a line of credit to pay for payroll. And I was like, whoa, what is going on here? Like, this is not the way I envisioned my business, struggling for money. And so I realized that I can sell it, but you still have to fulfill it. And there's not a ton of garage door guys running around that are good. So what we learned from that was, we We want to grow at a pace that is acceptable for us to where we can do fulfillment at a decent time and keep up with things. And it's okay to be booked out. Like, we don't mind being booked out. We're okay with that. It actually, I think it creates a scarcity. Even if you're booked out and other companies aren't, I still feel like if you have the reputation we have, people are willing to wait. And it actually adds to the experience a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say that we learned that we want to hire people from outside the industry with no prior knowledge that fit our culture first and are hungry and hard workers. And then we train them up and put them in the field. And then we try to scale at a pace where everybody can keep up and it's not overwhelming.
Yeah. That's a problem for every company. You know, we all want to scale and grow, and yet that can hurt you just as much as not growing. Well, differently than not growing. Right. It's funny you say that too. You know, I get that. That's a common statement on hiring, is that I'd rather, which we get from a lot of home service companies, I'd rather hire outside my industry, you know, and train them up because they've got bad habits if they're in my industry. And so obviously
there's a difference between, like, the conversation I have with my team is you have generalists and you have specialists, right? And we're not generalists. Everyone here is a specialist at something. And then, you know, there's a difference between someone who can install a garage door and someone who's an installer. An installer does all the steps of the process properly, right? Including walking the customer through everything, knowing how the door is supposed to be installed from that manufacturer and our expectations on how clean everything's supposed to be. And, you know, your truck is stocked, and like all this goes into making the difference between someone who can install a garage door and it'll go up and down and it'll be fine, but not our door. Like, right. Our door needs to be quiet, needs to be installed properly. It needs to be beautiful inside and out. Everything needs to feel good. The experience needs to feel good with the customer. You need to walk the customer through like routine maintenance and expectations, and the safety sensors, don't knock these. And if you do, here's how you fix it. And, you know, here's your maintenance stuff and your warranty stuff. And, you know, that's an experience. That's a professional. That's a specialist. That is what we want on our team. And there's not a lot of guys out there that are willing to do all that because they have this like 1099 contractor mindset where right. Get in and install this door as quick as humanly possible because they're on my time. Right. And I'm getting paid flat rate. So it's my best interest to get it installed and get home as quickly as possible, right. Or get to another job. And that's not what we're trying to create here.
Nice. Do you build those SOPs into Service Titan or Monday, and so they've got checklists or whatever?
So had I known, I wish I would have known earlier, but Monday has a really cool feature where you can actually build systems and processes in. But we actually started using Trainual, okay. And Trainual's built for that. So yeah, we're establishing all of our SOPs in there. And that way, like when guys call, if we know that it's in there, we won't answer their question. We'll be like, you know what, that's in Trainual. And so they can open up the app and do a search. And I know it's frustrating for our team, but that's the best way for them to learn. And instead of just feeding them the answer all the time, because then you become Trainual and then they don't feel like you need to learn it because they just know they can pick up the phone and get the answer when they want it. So we push back a little bit and tell them check Trainual. And so
I like it. So I'm not familiar. So train and manual sort of combined? Trainual?
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull it up. TRAINUAL.com, Trainual.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, don't have that solution. They don't have Service Titan or Monday, a little smaller, not ready to, make that bite right just yet. So they're on Jobber or House Call Pro or something like that.
Yeah. Trainual is not cheap by any means. It's a couple $100 for the package we're on, but I think they got a cheaper package. But it's built. You can assign things. If you update an SOP or a workflow or whatever, it can notify everybody, and then you can see who's seen it and who hasn't seen it. You can set up courses, training courses for people to go through, and then you can have them quiz at the end of that. So it's pretty cool. And it's one-stop shop for everything.
That's nice. Do you have a regular training session weekly or biweekly or monthly or whatever internally?
So I'm a big believer in training. It's kind of a really big deal. And so what we do is we find training solutions for everybody in our company. So at any given time, everybody's doing training. So we're big fans of Power Selling Pros for SR reps. You should have Zach from Power Selling Pros on your podcast. He's a great interview also.
Power Slides Pro?
Power Selling Pros.
Power Selling Pros. Thank you.
So they do training for CSRs, and they're so good. They're so good.
That's a gigantic need right there.
Oh my God, it's great. Like, I'm telling you, what it's done for the confidence of my girls answering the phones and the experience my customers receive on the other end, like, it's paid for itself tenfold. And it's just continuous. We just do it every month, and they'll listen to some phone conversations. They'll jump on the call with your girls or guys, and they'll say, hey, let's listen to this. And then they'll be like, what do you think you could have done better?
Nice.
What did you do really great? And let's celebrate those things too.
Right.
And they're just like non-confrontational. They got these really great words that they use to make it comfortable for them and be able to give constructive criticism in a intimidating way.
Right.
So they're phenomenal. And, for leadership, we've done leadership training. We go to leadership conferences, and, we challenge our entire team to, find things like, don't wait on us, right? Go find things that you can sign up for, and we'll pay for it. Just send us the information. And we have a guy named David Mount, who's an industry trainer. He's one of the best trainers in the garage door industry. And David has a training facility. So we send our guys there. We try to get everybody certified. So every one of our clients gets a certified service professional when we come to their house. So whether that's service, installation, regardless, doesn't matter. They are certified when they come out. So it's a big deal to us. We feel like it legitimizes us a little bit more. Not a lot of people certification process, but then we do continued education as well through either us doing our own training or us finding people to do training.
That's great. So therein lies a lot of the secrets to your growth right there.
Yeah, it feels like a big investment, but when you think about it, it's kind of like, well, I got CSRs, they're making good money. And if we could increase our book rate by 2 or 3 or 4 or 5%
right
every month, that compounds on itself and pays for what we're looking to, what I'm saying? Like, it's just, and then, now it's like my team loves and feels like we're investing in them to get better.
Right.
And that creates a culture that we enjoy as leadership.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And your clients are feeling that, of course, too. When companies are spending a fortune out there in ads, right? PPC, Yelp, Google, Home Advisor, Angie's, whatever. But are you also investing, I'm speaking to the audience now, in your CSRs, in your techs, because you get the calls in, right? And now the lead. So now what's your book rate? How many of those leads became calendar appointments? And then once your guys are out there, how many of those jobs got sold, upsold, whatever? So we're as a group, we're very guilty of pouring a lot of money into lead generation and very little money into honing, making sure they turn into sold jobs. And that's a long process along that way with multiple people.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we're in this conversation right now where we're like, the market's slowing, the economy's getting worse. What's the number one easiest thing that you could probably do to generate more business? Well, that would be going back to the fundamentals of blocking and tackling and squeezing more juice out of what you already get.
Right.
Because when things get busy, you have a tendency to allow things to slip through the cracks. Not every customer is as important. Right. You're just blowing and going and everything's great. But when things slow down, it's like, okay, we can't afford to lose a customer. We need every single one of them. So we gotta emphasize this with everybody. And so I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's super important more now than it has been in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Well, you were the one guilty of bringing it up, but yeah, absolutely. You touched on that PowerPoint. And then, we're getting close to wrapping it up here, a little over, sorry. But I love that you got a podcast. So tell me what your podcast is. What's your goal of your podcast?
Educate and entertain. That's our goal. It's called Torsion Talk Podcast. If you don't mind, I'd like to probably have you come on my podcast too and share a little bit about you. I think you're doing a great job. And we have about 80,000 downloads and plays on our podcast. And it's garage door kind of specific. Not really. There's home service companies that listen to it, but I would say 75% are garage door companies. And we just discuss a wide range of things. It's probably very similar to what you do. We bring in people, we let them tell their stories. We also bring on tax planners and, anything that I think business owners. The thing with garage door industry is there's really no barrier of entry. It's not like HVAC where you got to go get certified. So for us, or licensed per se, for us, these technicians, they get really good and they see the money and they're like, man, I could do this on my own. And they go out and start a company. And so we're multiplying each other, right? So in the grand scheme of things for us, we have a bunch of business owners who aren't technically great business owners. They're great people. They're great technicians. They're great installers, but they're like figuring it out as they go. And that can be very damaging sometimes. I mean, we're all figuring it out as we go, but at what level? If you don't have the basics, that's kind of scary. So I wanted to start the podcast Torsion Talk to allow me to give back to the industry that's given to me so much, and then be able to teach some of those guys who don't know business about business. And in return, I've built some amazing relationships and got some great sponsorships, and I get paid to learn now. And it's a fascinating thing because I bring on people who are smarter than me and I get to ask them questions where if I were to reach out to them and be like, hey, if I paid you for an hour of consulting, what would that look like? And I got to pay $5-10 grand for an hour.
I didn't even think of it that way.
Go on my podcast for free and I can ask the same questions.
No kidding. I didn't even think of it that way. You're right. I had some of these guys I couldn't even afford them. Right.
Yep.
That's awesome. And I'm sure you're getting some technicians out of it as well. Probably seeing,
people reach out to us all over the country who want to come work here.
Right.
So yeah, that's an interesting concept too, because I won't hire a lot of these guys because I'm friends with their owner now. So that's tough.
Yeah.
But if it's, if I don't know the owner very well and we're not friends, then I'll consider it.
That's cool. And then your YouTube channel, lastly, I'll touch on, is out there talking to your end user, your customer, and sharing, basically SEO content, DIY or not DIY content, or, what you're about.
We do product reviews.
Sorry?
We do product reviews.
Reviews.
Those do very well. Yeah. Open box stuff. Talking about this versus that. Those are huge. I don't know if you get into that, but those are really good. This opener versus that opener, or this wood door versus door. Like people really like that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's great content. I know Tommy Mello, he's got a gigantic channel up there too. And I see he's always recommending to the new, 1 truck, 2 truck, 3 truck guy, hey, start a YouTube channel, start teaching your customer, give it away for free. That's awesome. Ryan, you've been awesome. I've enjoyed the conversation tremendously. If our listeners out there want to reach out to you, how about your website and whatever contact channel for you?
Yeah, so you can go to Facebook. Just look up Ryan Lucia. I'm on there a lot. A lot of people hit me up on Messenger there. Also on Instagram, Twitter. So I'm pretty easy to find and pretty easy to reach. I'm in a lot of meetings, so if I don't get right back to you, I apologize, but I will get back to you. And you can want to check out my website at aaronoverheaddoors.com. And if you're in the garage door business, if you don't mind, I got an event coming up called Garage Door U. It's GDU 23 Summit, and that's going to be in September. So,
in Atlanta or?
It's going to be at Lake Lanier Islands. Yes, sir. We just locked in Jesse Itzler as our keynote speaker, which I'm a huge fan of. I don't know if you know him, but he's got pretty big rap sheet of things he's accomplished in the world that most people don't accomplish one of these things, and he's done it a bunch. And we got a pretty killer lineup. It's going to be nice.
That's nice. So who are you inviting? This is a conference on garage door maintenance, repairs, sales?
So we created a peer group, kind of like a mastermind, but it's more like a peer group for garage door owners. We have about 35 people in it. And then we take some of the funds from that and do an event every year. And we open it up to, it's mostly garage door companies that will come and enjoy the experience and camaraderie of other business owners.
Super excellent. So anybody from the country is invited if they're in that?
Sure.
Nice. And how did they reach you again about that? You got a site on that or?
So we just started locking everything in. We don't even have our landing page ready yet, but you can go to garagedooru.com and we'll have some information about the event coming up soon.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Awesome. Ryan, you've been awesome, man. Thank you very much. Highly appreciate your time, sharing your expertise, giving back to the world out there. So good karma. Many thank you, sir.
Same. You too.
Thank you. Thanks to our listeners out there as well. Appreciate your time, your effort. Hopefully you got some good value bombs out of this one today.
Thanks for listening to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast. To power up your home service business, for show notes, visit battleplanmarketing.com/podcast. If you enjoyed our show, please share it on social. Until next time.